Hey guys. So, yesterday I just got through doing like 7 book reviews or something like that, but we forgot one and I thought I'd throw this one in here. This is probably, you'll probably see this before you see the rest of the reviews, just because this is going to be one of the oddball reviews. Sort of like, so I did the starter set review, so yeah, that should come before this one. But I want to go ahead and give a review for the Dungeon Master's Guide for Dungeons and Dragons. I got this as part of a set. For those who don't know, you can get all of these separately, but I have like the full. This is like a re-release version set of all the core rule books. So this is the core rule books. You have the Player's Handbook, a Monster Manual, and the Dungeon Master's Guide. This I have done I think I did a review of the Player's Handbook. I haven't read through the Monster's Manual cover to cover, but maybe one day. But it's pretty nice. I just got this little box set here. It comes this little slip cover here. Well, that was actually awesome. This comes with a Dungeon Master screen as well. Let me show that to you. This is the reverse side. You can see Dungeons and Dragons and the symbol and the big old huge dragon. And then it's a standard Dungeon Master screen. This is a very common layout. Different stats and stuff. For those of you who don't know, Dungeons and Dragons, oftentimes the person running the game, the Dungeon Master, has quick reference stuff like a little screen up so he can do roles in private that the players can't see, do things behind the screen that the players can't see, and also has the rules references on there. So it's for looking up things quickly. But yeah, so this is the Dungeon Master's Guide. This is the book if you want to know how to run a game. More importantly, if you want to know how to build, you want some tools to build your own game world, that your own campaign, so to speak, in dungeons using Dungeons and Dragons. This is the book for you. It's called the Dungeon Master's Guide. It's more like the campaign creator's guide, not necessarily so much the dungeon master, because this book doesn't really, it does have quite a bit of stuff on running a game, but it's not really practical advice. This book really assumes that you already know how to run a game, really. So it's not really good for like new dungeon masters. Although, if you are a new dungeon master, I do recommend that you get this book. Some people say that you really shouldn't even bother getting this book, but I think if you do want to get into running your own games, you do want to read through this. It's good stuff to have in the back of your mind for references and stuff like that, and just being more familiar with the games. If you are just a regular player, you're not a dungeon master. The reason why you would really want this book is it has more practically, it has the magic items, like the core magic items that are available. So like a bag of holding and stuff like that it's very common, like magic item. The bag of tricks, yeah, bag of holdings, like right here. This is where most of the magic items are. It's not in the player's handbook, it's in the Dungeon Master's Guide. And then there are player expansion things like Tasha's Cauldron and stuff like that, where has more character options, more magic items, more monsters and stuff. Those are kind of collections here, but for the core rule books, that's the value for the player. in the Dungeon Master's Guide is really just the magic item section, really. But if you are looking to get a Dungeon Master, I will still get this book, but make sure you pick up. Definitely, if you're a new Dungeon Master, make sure you pick up another book that I reviewed. You can search through my YouTube, wherever, or just on YouTube in general. Look for Sly Flourish's Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. That was the Lazy Dungeon Master, and then there's Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, which is kind of like the new updated version. Yeah, go by Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master because it gives you a step-by-step process of how to prepare for a game in a timely manner. Basically, how to this process of actually, especially if you're using it's especially useful if you've got a pre-made module or whatever, and you don't want to be reading through the book. You want to have like quick cliff notes, highlights, things that you can have ready to go for the next 4 hours of gameplay or whatever, however long your next session is. Isn't like for planning campaigns. It's like how to prepare for your next session, really. So yeah, that's what I would recommend, is that if you are looking into getting Dungeon Master, this is obviously, you need this book, but I would definitely get the Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. That is the guide to running games that is really needed. That's not in this book. But this is a good book. I mean, it's like you could. So here's the thing: getting the special set. You see, it's kind of like it's got this sheen on here and everything. It's kind of metallic looking. That is, this backside, the way it is, this black right here. That's the way the regular books are. I don't have another regular book on hand, but that's how the regular books are. But this kind of metallic full print is new for the re-release. So if you're wondering why my book looks a little bit different, it's the set. It's that's what's special about it, is it has a full release. And there was a alternate cover of this set that had like really awesome like full like faces of, like there was a beholder on one, and then like some kind of demon or something or other on another, and then another one was like some kind of, I think, a displacer beast or something like that. Or there was like a big face and a big round symbol or whatever. Really great art, but those are like, I think they don't sell them anymore. They're you can't just buy them off the shelf, and they're going for like $400 now. So I didn't get one of those. Although I do like getting the alternate covers where I can. But this is this is the core rule set. If you are a new player and you want to get Dungeons and Dragons, say you've done the starter set and you're just getting into it, you can just get the player's handbook. But if you're really, really into it, just go ahead and get the core rule bit set. And you'll have the all of the core rules. You'll have the Monsters Manual, Player's Handbook, and Dungeon Master Guide all in one set. It's a little bit cheaper than buying each one individually. That's the key point. They also have a kind of player expansion rule set, which is another 3 books in another set like this that has all of the player expansion books. So was it Tasha's Cauldron and Xanathar's Guide to Everything, and then Monsters of the Multiverse. I think those are the 3, and it includes another DM screen with special art on it. So that's another way. So you really only need if you wanted to just get back in Dungeons and Dragons, and you just want to get all of the main rule books and everything that would be useful for a player, you can just get those 2 box sets, and it'll be a pretty good chunk of change, but it'll be cheaper than buying each book individually. That's if you wanted books. Of course, you can always do DnD Beyond and buy it digitally that way. There is no digital physical bundle. There's only one book that does physical. That's the new Dragonlance. books you can buy a bundle that has the physical version along with a code for the digital version. But that's the first one that they put out, and that's very recent. But anyway, we are rambling. So what else is in this book? So it includes I'll just go through the chapters. It shows how to build your own world and creating your own how it fits like in the multiverse, because there's like different planes and stuff. You have like the Fey realm and the Shadow realm and Shadowfell, and then you have the inner planes and outer planes, like the elemental planes and stuff like that. That's how things work in like a standard D&D environment. Of course, if you have your own campaign, you can make all the rules that you want, but that's, it talks a little bit about how things work, in standard kind of format. It talks about creating adventures, creating non-player characters. It talks about creating dungeons and wildernesses and settlements. It talks about doing downtime between adventures. So sometimes your characters are between like their big missions or whatever, and maybe they want to tool around town and, I don't know, build a bakery shop in town or something, and so there's stuff that can go on, in between adventures or whatever. Famously, I think there was a Critical Role Vox Machina. During one of their downtimes, they opened a bakery in Whitestone, and not that that matters to any of you guys, but that was the thing. We had this huge sprawling campaign, and there was a little bit of downtime during one of the breaks, and that's what they decided that they were going to do over that break, is all the characters had a bakery in town. There's different treasure and stuff, so you saw the magic items and stuff like that. It does have a little section on running the game. It has some alternate rules for like doing different things. Sometimes different ways to alternate ways to handle things like initiative and stuff like that. It also has options about creating monsters, creating spells, creating magic items. It also has this appendix for creating random dungeons, and so it's got this whole appendix of random dungeons. It's got monster lists and maps, some list of like things for inspiration, like the Lord of the Rings would be one of the things that they list in here, that kind of stuff. But anyway, of course, as usual, the art in here is just, it's amazing, as usual. That's one thing you could say consistently good about Watsy's road. I think that's in a what do you call it? I think it's right here somewhere. Portable hole. That's what that old black cloth is. It's like this alternate dimension you can put things in. But yeah, it's some more art in here. Look at this cool map and stuff. Yeah, we are kind of rambling now, but it's a good book. Obviously, if you are, getting into, I mean, what is this? What is this nonsense? It's so good. Anyway, it's fantastic. If you're looking to get into Dungeons and Dragons, you don't have to buy this right off the bat. To be clear, you could just run off of the basic rules that are listed, that are given for free. You can get them online. You can just go to D&D Beyond, create your character or whatever. You can just follow the basic rules. Those are available for free, and you can go a long ways with just that and create a lot of different characters, and you can play for months and even years if you want to under those limitations. But if you do want to get a little bit further into it, you can buy the minimum. You'll probably want to buy the player's handbook, if you're really getting into it, go ahead and get the core rule set. Almost everybody who gets into D&D buys at least the core rule set. But anyway, like I said, it's definitely if you are into D&D, obviously you're going to buy this book. But if you're a new dungeon master, especially, I would make sure that you pick up Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master in addition to the Dungeon Master's Guide. Anyway, I think later on down the road, So if you don't know, Dungeons and Dragons is getting ready to do a new edition. They're calling it the last edition, but really it's going to be just another edition. It's going to be We're on 5th edition right now, and they're saying that everything's going to be backwards compatible. I'm sure they're going to do their best, but what's really going to happen is we're going to have a 6th edition. That they're not going to call it 6th edition until years later, whenever it's no longer a PR nightmare to call it 6th edition. But so, in a sense, within next year or two, these books will probably be obsolete to some extent. I think they're still useful for now, especially. But if you're wanting to, like I said, if you're pitching pennies, and you want to hold off, I would. You're really on limited budget. Yeah, you can probably hold off for the next. I think 2024. Next year, I think, is when they're supposed to be re-releasing all the new core rule books. They're on a new Dungeon Master's Guide, new Player's Handbook, I think. Basically, all the core rule books, I think, are going to be re-released in updated forms. That's called 1D&D. You should also know that there's a bit of a controversy going on right now, which I'm not going to go into, but this is just a review of the existing products. It's no endorsement of the things that have happened recently with the OGL, Open Gaming License, which, again, I won't go into. But these books are good. No comment on the current state of affairs with D&D and Wizards of the Coast and the OGL. So, anyway, that is a dumpster fire. We're not going to get into it. It's good books. I love them. I love D&D. I think you will too. You won't regret any buying these books, I don't think, unless you're just, like I said, if you're on very limited income, maybe hold off. But if you got some disposable income, these are certainly a great way to spend some money on a hobby that you enjoy. Anyway, I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.